Hey guys, we're back again. A2D NBA playoff time, and as usual, I got my man Michael with me. We got next up on the playoff matchup is Brooklyn against Boston. Brooklyn's going into Boston as the 7th seed to take on the 2 seed Boston Celtics. They got an MVP candidate and Jason Tatum. They got a Defensive Player of the Year candidate and Marcus Smart, and maybe even a Coach of the Year candidate. He's not going to win it, but Udoka has done a fine job down in Boston, man. They got Al Horford, Jalen Brown, some guys that have been there. They're obviously the 2 seed for a reason. They earned it. They weren't ducking Brooklyn. They're embracing this matchup. It's going to be fun, man. Probably the most fun first round matchup of all the first round matchups in this thing. So, who do you got taking it? What do you think? How do you think it's going to play out?
Yeah, man, this is the one I'm actually excited the most about. I mean, obviously I'm a Suns fan, but I know how that series is gonna go. So this was the one that I'm torn the most because I really like Jason Tatum. He led the league in plus minus rating. You know how I feel about those efficiency stats. So Jason Tatum is one of the most. I mean, I know he's a superstar. And I know people give him his props, but he's still, to me, like people don't know this kid's full potential and how good this kid actually is. He talked about Marcus Smart being defensive player, a defensive player of the year candidate. They play there. I think they're number one overall defensive efficiency rating, at least since the All Star break. They're, yeah, you mentioned Ime Udoka, man. Like they're well coached. They play together. They have the chemistry. Jalen Brown's been playing well. The one thing that is hurting Boston right now is the loss of Robert Williams, and he is an enforcer inside. And I don't know how much of this series is actually that's going to hurt because I don't see a huge inside presence for Brooklyn. But you have Katie, you have Kyrie, you have all these guys, man. They're ready to ball. I'm interested to see if Ben Simmons comes back in this game or in this series, and if he does, what kind of presence does he bring? Is he a all-star player, or does he bring more of a distraction to the court than he does anything else? So this one's really tough for me. This series, I think, goes 7. I really think so. I want to say I have Boston in 7. I want to say that, but I know Kevin Durant and I know Kyrie Irving and I know what they bring to the table in playoffs, especially Kyrie, man. And I expect Kyrie to come out and if he stays healthy in this series, I could see them winning in 7. Flip a coin though. And that's how I feel about this series. And I think in game 7, whoever comes out hot enough is going to win the series. But if you're going to ask me to make an actual prediction, I'm going to say Brooklyn in 7.
If it goes 7, then yeah, you go with the Stars, man, and they got the 2 most lethal scorers on the planet on the same team. I know they're not deep. I know they don't have to play defense well. And Ben Simmons, he doesn't have to play an all-star. If he does come back, he could just ease his way back and play defense. Run the floor. You also got shooters around you. You got Curry with you. You got Patty Mills, and you got those 2. They got shooters all day around them. They got Aldridge who can knock down shots, man. They're Brooklyn. I don't think it's honestly going to go 7. I think it's going to go 6, and I think Brooklyn will find a way. And I don't want to just pass over Boston because they are the number 1 defensive team. They are a good team. It's just superstars, man. There are levels to this, and Kyrie and KD are on another level, man. And Kyrie, you don't think he wants a little bit of redemption? He's going to be hearing a lot of stuff down in Boston. They're going to be giving him a hard time the way he left and everything. So what does a guy like that do in that? You think he's going to shrivel in that moment? I think he's going to rise in that moment. Honestly, I think he's going to have some big games, some big moments, and so is KD. They're actually got a little momentum coming into the playoffs, and I think they're going to keep that. If they get Ben Simmons, I don't see him as a distraction. They brought him along so slowly. I think they can bring him in slowly to the games actually, and just be a defensive guy. Just work your way in, and if he doesn't do well, if he struggles at all, and then you can take him out because it's not like he's really needed. He's a Draymond Green role if he's at full strength, and I think that he can get to that point, and he's going to be needed next round if he can get healthy. Because the thing for Ben Simmons is being able to move around laterally, being able to defend. because that's what they need him for next round if they advance and they play against Giannis. They're going to need a guy that has some size and can actually move and has some strength like he does. So, but this series, I think he's going to just not do much. I don't expect much from Ben Simmons, but I expect a lot from Kevin Durant, and I expect a lot from Kyrie Irving. I expect them to pass the ball well too, man. Kevin Durant had some triple doubles. Kyrie, like you said, when he plays point guard, they do well. When those shooters get going, they're actually a pretty good team. Offensively, defensively, they struggle. So that's where they need him. But yeah, man, for me, I got Brooklyn. I got Brooklyn at 6 because stars in the playoffs. Playoffs is a different game, man. We just saw Memphis. They're the 2 seed out west, right? And they got beat up because honestly, Anthony Edwards, Carl Anthony Towns, those guys looked like some stars. And then that's not even counting D'Angelo Russell. They got a nice little trio. They got Ja out over in Memphis. But other than that, who's really that guy that's going to step up in those big moments? And in the playoffs, that's what it's about. These big moments and who steps up. And I just trust Kyrie, man. I trust KD. I trust them in these big moments to actually take and make big shots.
Yeah, it's funny, man. You mentioned the other 2-7, and I think that this is honestly, it's almost like they're almost the exact same matchups. Minnesota hangs their hat on offense, and Memphis hangs their hat on defense, and it was offense versus defense yesterday, and the offense won. I see this other series with the Celtics and the Nets the same way. One team hangs their hat on defense, one hangs their hat on offense. The one thing I'll say, man, is I think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, man, I think that they are. I'm not going to sit here and say they're on the same level as KD and Kyrie because they're not. But Jason Tatum has that ability to flip that switch to where he's unstoppable too.
Yeah, he's close.
So he's in that realm also. I'm not going to put Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown can put together some nice games if they can find a way. KD's going to do his thing. Kevin Durant's probably the most unstoppable player on the planet right now when he wants to be. If you can find a way to slow down Kyrie Irving, you can't stop him, but if you can find a way to slow him down to where he's not shooting 75, 80% from the field because he's getting to the cup every fucking day, if you can do that, then Boston has a really good chance to win this series because they play defense as a whole unit. If they come out today and Kyrie and KD just go off for 35, 40 apiece, and they're just, they score 130 points, Boston's going to have a really tough time in this series. The same with Memphis. If Memphis plays the way they did yesterday in the exact same realm, both 2 seeds might get a dispatch because, these stars are showing up, and you're right. Carl Anthony Towns and those guys, they did show up yesterday. If they continue to do that, man, we might have to revisit our video because we thought Memphis was going to dispatch them early. Doesn't look like it now. So, and the same thing with Boston and Brooklyn. So those could be the 2 series that go the distance, but Brooklyn is not a 7 seed. So Boston has their hands full.
Real quick though, for Boston, you touched on that Williams injury, man, that big man. Like, I know Brooklyn doesn't have an imposing interior guy, but they got guys that will beat you off the dribble. And it's nice to have someone there protecting that rim. Without him, that's a huge loss. We saw how it affected them to finish the season. They still were able to get the 2 seed, but that's because the other guys kind of didn't want that 2 seed. So, you know what I mean? Like that's a huge loss. If he can come back in game 3 or whatever, then they'll have a chance. But if he's not back till game 4, then it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the Marcus Smart and Kyrie matchup. If Marcus can slow him down, then I can see Boston having a chance. I hear like Charles Barkley talk about this matchup and how Boston's not going to have a problem with them, because Brooklyn barely beat a Cavs team. Well, the Cavs were actually pretty good, even though I know that they kind of fell off and they fell apart and lost to Atlanta. But the Cavaliers are a good team too, man. And they gave Brooklyn all they could handle. And teams are going to fight. This is the time of year where teams are going to fight their ass off, and they're going to play 48 minutes of just getting after it. That's where I could see Boston having the edge, is they're going to be more scrappy. But the stars are going to be stars. And, in a game 7, you have to pick the stars. And I do think this series goes 7. I don't think, I can see it going 6 if Brooklyn can win an early one, but I see it going 7. And in the 7th game, I'm going to pick KD and Kyrie because not only have they been there before, but they show up when they have been there. So, you know, they've both been in finals and all that other jazz too. So anyway, guys, let us know, you know, again, like, subscribe, hit that button down below. We need to hear some comments from you guys. We need to hear if you agree to disagree with us. You know, maybe you think Boston takes us in 5 games or something. Let us know. That's our lifeblood. We want to be able to respond to you guys. So hit us up, let us know, and pay attention for the next videos.